gonna take it down for me. Now that you're paying for it, they ain't got nobody to pay for it now. What did I do? Send it off and get it polished up?
You doing okay?
Is Ms. HR coming? Ms. HR?
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for coming. I'd like to call this Gallatin City Council meeting September the 4th, 2018 to order. At this time, as we always do, we're going to have an invocation by Reverend Alexander, Councilman Alexander, and the Pledge of Allegiance will be by Councilman Hayes. If you'll stand with me, please.
Let every heart pray. Eternal gracious God, once again we come to say thank you for allowing us to assemble here at this place today. Lord, we just pray for all the bereaved families everywhere, those who are on the bed of affliction, and all these city officials who's trying to do the will of this city. I pray, oh God, that everything we say and do in this place this evening be pleasing in your sight. In Jesus' name I do pray, and every heart said, Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Councilman. At this time, we'll have a roll call. Ms. Kittrell.
Vice Mayor Overton,
Present.
Mr. Alexander,
Present.
Mr. Camp,
Present.
Mr. Fennell,
Here.
Mr. Hayes, Miss Love, and Mr. Mayberry. We have a quorum.
Thank you, Ms. Kittrell. Approval of minutes in your package for August the 7th and August 21st. There's been a motion made and properly second to approve both sets of minutes. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Any opposed? Passed unanimously. At this time we have public recognition, but before we do, I do have a proclamation that I would like to read. If anybody that's here, I know kids here with the Sumner County Drug Coalition, please come to the podium. We have Tracy Kidd here from the Recovery Court and also from Sumner County Anti-Drug Coalition. I'd like to read a proclamation that the mayor done. Whereas recovery courts are a key component of reforming our criminal justice system, and whereas currently there are more than 3,000 recovery and specialist courts nationwide and 77 recovery courts across Tennessee covering juvenile, family, and adult drugs, veteran treatment, adult mental health, DUIs, and human trafficking. And whereas the recovery courts have served more than 1.4 million individuals nationwide. Since July the 1st, 2013, there have been more than 6,920 individuals admitted into either the adult drug court or a veteran treatment recovery program in the state of Tennessee. Whereas recovery courts can significantly improve education, employment, housing, financial stability, promote family reunification, reduce foster care placements, and decrease the number of babies born. And whereas the recovery courts facilitate community partnerships bringing together public safety officials, courts, and public health and treatment professionals. And whereas through the observance of the National Recovery Month, we will work to improve lives of those affected by mental or substance abuse and acknowledge and influence organizations and individuals who work to break the chains of these disorders. Now, for be it resolved, I, Paige Brown, the mayor of the city of Gallatin, Tennessee, do hereby proclaim September 2018 Recovery Court Month. Thank you all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all for that. You know, the Recovery Court does miracles for a lot of people, and we appreciate them being in our county. At this time, we're going to be in public recognition for any items that's on the agenda. And I just ask you to state your name and address for the record, and please hold your comments to 5 minutes. At this time, public recognition is now open.
Johnny Griffin, 657 Northwater Avenue, Gallatin. Yesterday, I received a call from Pat Boone out in California about saving Randy's record shop. And I gave each council member a copy of the email that he sent me. He goes in great detail of what Randy's record shop and Randy Wood did for the music business and the city of Gallatin. He said that he won an award for singing. And the next day, it was Ted Mack's amateur hour, and he came the next day to Gallatin and met with Randy Wood, and they had a hamburger over in town. They went back over to Randy's record shop and shook hands and made a deal for him to record on Dot Records. He wound up selling 40 million records for Dot Records. He states in this letter that he sent me that it would be a travesty for this record shop to be demolished. It means so much to him, so much to everybody in Gallatin, and so much to the music community. He has agreed to come to Gallatin if we save it and have a grand opening to sing at the opening. Ray Walker of the Jordanaires has also agreed to come to Gallatin, and they don't want, they're coming here because they love this record shop. They love what Randy Wood did for the community, and that, you've got a guy flying from California to Gallatin to perform because he thinks that much. And that letter, it tells you how much that Gallatin meant to Randy Wood. We're getting emails every day. Wink Martindale sent us a letter here to save Randy's record shop. I have another one here from Leroy Van Dyke. We went on a list to see how many artists had recorded for Dot Records. And it is unbelievable the amount of people that recorded. When you figure he sold 550,000 mail order records a year all over the world, he didn't only sell in the United States. He shipped them to West Africa. He sent them everywhere from Gallatin, Tennessee. And as I said before, anytime he advertised, he could have put Nashville on there. He didn't do it. He thought enough of this town and wanted to help this community that on all his Dot records until he sold out to Paramount, it says Gallatin, Tennessee. On all his shows on the radio, which came out of Nashville, Gallatin, Tennessee. If there ever was a man that deserved to be honored for what he did for this community, we need to do it for him. And, every day, like I said, we started an online petition yesterday. We already have 220-something people signed up. We just put it on Facebook. That's just yesterday. 24 hours. That's 220 voters right there that put that on there. So you can see the community, the whole town is behind us on this, and we're working at it as hard as we can. But we have all these deadlines, and right now the construction business, they have more work than they can do. We had one guy, he said, if I take the job, it'll be 3 months before I could even start it. We can't do something in 7 days when nobody in town could get a construction worker in 7 days. We're trying to do everything that y'all want us to do. And we don't have we just need the time to do it. Like I said, if this building ever gets destroyed, there's no building it back. You can forget about it. It's gone. You can't back up in and say, oh, I wish we'd have saved it. Everybody in this town, I have not had the first negative person tell me, tear that building down. Every one of them says, why are y'all having such a hard time saving that building? You know, myself and Shannon, we don't get anything out of this. We're doing this because we love the town, the history of Randy Wood and what he did. We're doing it for everybody in here. We're not doing it for us. Everybody gets the same benefit from this as both of us do. But we're out here working 7 days a week on this. I mean, I get calls. I finally had to turn my phone off the other night because I couldn't even eat supper. People calling me.
Mr. Griffin, your time's up. If you'll wrap it up for us, please.
Okay, I'm going to let Shannon talk.
Okay, sir.
Thank you for giving
Thank
me
you.
time.
Shannon Rogers, 151 Jocelyn Avenue, Gallatin, Tennessee. It's like my friend here said, there's an enormous amount of support for this, and I keep getting more and more, not just here in Gallatin. I've been on the phone almost all day long. I had to charge my battery twice from people from the state, people from National Historical Register people. All of these folks are saying, you've got a gold mine sitting up there for the people of Gallatin. What in the world is wrong with them? I have no answers other than we're doing everything we can to make this work. A contractor has been hired. The owner hired him, and he has got the process working. He cannot move overnight, just like Johnny said. We've had different people down here, and it's 2.5, 3 months before they can even man the job. This man that's here in town is going to make it work for us, but he cannot do it tomorrow. He can't do it by the end of the week, we don't think. He said he would need probably 30 days to get everything done that we're talking about getting done. In that length of time, I've talked to the tenants in the tattoo shop. They have already rented another space, are remodeling, and are making plans and already tearing down stuff down there to move into it. They're doing everything they can to cooperate. We'll have a fence up, we'll have the walls braced, we'll have everything done that we've been asked to do. I spoke with the engineer who's in Texas today. He is tickled to death with the progress. He says as long as they've hired Charlie to get this done and he's got it scheduled in, he says, I'm satisfied with that. He'll look at it when he gets back, whenever that's going to be, I don't know. We've made a lot of progress, but we need a sufficient amount of time to get this pressure off of us so we can do the things that need to be done. We have located a 501c3, in fact, 2 of them have surfaced that may be candidates for us to work with. They're taking it to their boards to see if they can't get that done so we can start getting donations right away. We are in negotiations with some industry here in town that are more than willing to help us with this project. We can make it work. We can put something together here that the city of Gallatin can be totally and completely proud of from now on out. But we need the time to make it work. I think all the damage to the building that's going to be done to the building has already been done. There was some concrete blocks that was leaning over to the edge. I was just waiting for the wind to blow the right way. They're now inside the building. They're no longer hanging off. Everything down there seems to have buttoned itself up, which is the way buildings work. That's the way gravity is. We can fix this thing if we're given the time to do it, and we can make it work for everybody. If you have
Can I
any
ask you a
questions,
question?
I'll be happy to answer.
Ask-
Let's wait till we get to that item on the agenda, Craig.
Okay, well, I didn't know since they were up here.
Go ahead.
We'll answer any questions you have.
Well, we'll
Yeah.
just wait until it's on the agenda. It's only 3 down. We
Yeah.
can manage it.
What's the best thing to do? Wait, okay.
Let's wait.
Okay,
No problem.
all right.
Anybody else? Public recognition. Now's your time to speak. Come right on up, sir. State your name and address for the record, please.
Good evening, I'm Bill Ennis. I reside at 391 Gibbs Lane, and my concern was the Randy's Record Shop building, whereby I've had a little experience in a building like that. We were tasked to go retire gas service at a building on 8th Avenue South. It's been about 11 and a half years ago. My crew was there at the gas meter removing it, and they were going to retire the service line at the property line, which is right at the water meter box. Before they could ascertain the position of the gas service, the building wall fell, killing one employee and putting another one in the hospital for a month. My concern is what to do with the walls that are very unstable. I've driven by it and they're at least 40 feet tall. They're Brico block. They're probably 50 or 60-year-old mortar, which is about what the mortar was on this building here that my guys were on. I don't see a problem with saving the building. I love history myself, but my only concern is life and property damage to anybody that's around it when those walls are going to fall. And if they're not supported, they will fall, either inward or outward. Outward, that's going to be a problem. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Sir. Anyone else on the public recognition? No, sir. It's public recognition right now. Anyone else on the public recognition? Public recognition is closed. We'll move on to mayor's comments. Just a couple of things that I'd like to bring to your attention. Tomorrow, Wednesday, the 5th, don't forget about the Citizens Police Academy, Gallatin Police Department from 6 to 8. Also, the mayor wanted me to please remind everyone that next Tuesday, 9/11, there will be a memorial service out here in front of City Hall. So please make plans to attend that. Anything else you can get on the mayor's calendar? We'll move on. We do have 2 public hearings on our agenda tonight. Item number 1, Councilwoman Love.
Thank you, Jimmy. This is an ordinance of the City of Gallatin rezoning 2 lots totaling 6 acres from the MRO Multiple Residential and Office District to the IR Industrial Restrictive District, located on the southeast side of Airport Road, south of Hartsville Pike, authorizing the revision to be indicated on the official zoning atlas, repealing conflicting ordinances, providing for severability, and providing for an effective date. This is a public hearing.
Public hearing is open on ordinance number 01808-41. Anybody wish to speak on this public hearing? If not, I declare the public hearing closed. Item number 2 is also a public hearing on ordinance number 01808-42. Councilman Fennell.
Thank you, Jimmy. This is an ordinance, City of Gallatin, amended the zoning ordinance of the City of Gallatin, Article 2, language and definitions, and Article 14, provisions governing non-conforming uses, lots or parcels, and non-conforming buildings and other structure, authorizing the revisions to be made on the zoning ordinance, repealing conflicting ordinances, provide for servability, and provide for an effective date. And this is a public hearing.
Public hearing is now open. Does anyone wish to speak on this public hearing? I don't see anybody coming out. Public hearing is now closed. Item number 3, Ms. McCauley and Chuck Stewart, please come forward. Gentlemen, you all can come and stand behind them in case they got some questions to ask if you want to, please.
This is the agenda item for 321 West Main Street, the eminently dangerous building order. And just as some procedural history, this council declared this building eminently dangerous on, let me get the date here, August the 7th. And then at our last council meeting, you granted an extension until tonight. And so that's why it's back on the agenda, is to determine, for this council to determine what you want to do with this building. We do have a professional engineer's report that was handed out to you at the last work session. And there are 3 items that are in that report that the engineer says must be done fairly quickly to render that building not imminently dangerous. The engineer did say it was imminently dangerous. There are 3 things that must be done. I've handed you an email that I received from the building owner's daughter that addresses 2 of those. She says there's going to be a fence that will be put up and that they're going to brace the walls. What's not addressed is the other item in the engineer's report, which deals with the adjoining building, and there are tenants that are in that building. And I've heard tonight something addressed about those tenants moving out. I don't know if there's another tenant in there in the barber shop or not. There's signage there. I don't know if they're there. But I do have grave concerns, now that you have this engineer's report, that something must happen very quickly to get those tenants out of that building, because there could be liability on your part now that you know that the engineer has said it could fall outward and could kill or injure someone in that building.
Susie, what about the vitamin shop? Are they part of this? They're on the property, but they don't have to evacuate that building, do they?
I don't think so. I think that they're far enough away.
I think the engineer's report only dealt with the adjoining building. And I think Mr. Stewart has researched the International Building Code, if you want to speak on that.
Yeah, if, you know, the engineer recommended we evacuate that building. Well, by code, myself or Chief Williams are authorized to order the immediate evacuation of any building occupied, deemed unsafe when such building or hazardous conditions that present imminent danger to the building occupants, which would give us the ability to post the building and ask the tenants to get out.
And I will tell you that in researching this matter, there was a case out of Memphis, some similarities to this case, but the council did not declare it dangerous, and then it collapsed, and there was liability because it was not posted not to be occupied. So that is my concern at this point. All three of the things must be done. Two of them have been, you know, allegedly addressed. I haven't seen that happen yet, but the third thing, until tonight, I heard that they are going to be moving out, but I suggest that this council authorize the building official, which I don't think you have to do. I think the building, International Building Code will allow him to do it, but because it's before you, I think to protect the city from liability, that you should direct Mr. Stewart to.
In form of a motion?
Yes, I mean, you don't have to do that at this point. That's one of my recommendations, but I know that you're going to discuss some other things tonight. But I do think that you should direct the building official at a minimum to get those tenants out of that building.
Anyone else wish to speak on this matter?
Okay, God.
Mr.
Go ahead,
Fennell.
Craig, you was in the queue first.
Mr. Hayes.
No, I was going, that was what I was going to address to them, is that it looks like I guess Ms. Mullins is in the process of putting a wall up around it or a fence and stabilizing the building. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And then you talked to...
If you're going to talk, please come to the microphone, gentlemen.
Which one
Thank
did
you.
y'all talk to that's moving out?
Yeah.
Which tenant?
Yes, the Mullins have contracted to brace the walls, put up the fence.
Okay. Which tenant did y'all talk to that's
We
moving out?
talked to the tattoo parlor.
Is anybody in the other building?
The tattoo parlor, excuse me,
Okay.
the tattoo parlor and the barber shop are one and the same.
Okay.
They share space.
So they're moving out, both of
They're
them?
moving out. Both of them are moving uptown.
Okay.
That has been in the process actually for a couple of months, I understand. I'm just from talking to those guys. Because they weren't, I went down there and said, I'm going to give you a heads up. You might be needing to move. He says, we're already moving. And, we've already rented the space and remodeling it. So that's in process. Now, when I spoke with Richard about this, he was concerned with like 25 feet away from that wall, because the wall will fall within that radius if it fell flat out within that area. When you look at that, if you look at the front of Randy's building, that will take you over to just this side of the door that goes into the barber shop. When I went inside, there's a natural barrier there. And I asked them again today they've already started tearing down some stuff in there. I asked them to try to expedite that a little bit and at least get on the other side of that 25 feet. That way, if something happened to the wall, there would be nobody over there. And I also asked them to block it off and to let me know when it was there, so that I could let the owner know.
I guess my thing is, if we're going to continue this and move it on, they're going to have to I guess everybody's going to have to evacuate. They're going to have to be out. Yeah.
If they've got to get out, they've got to get out, is all I can say.
I think
They're already making plans to do that.
It's going to be more appropriate for us to direct our codes and
Yeah.
We
Chief
can't go
Victor
down
to do
and throw
that.
them
Are you guys, I asked you, Mr. Rogers, last time, if you come into contract on this piece of property, have you guys got a contract?
We have
on
a
it?
verbal contract with the
verbal.
owner. We're not ready to go any further because we're still negotiating every day. They are wanting us to move as quick as we can and to close it out. They understand what we're doing and why we're doing it, and they are behind us 100%. They do not want the building torn down or any more damage done to it than it is. This is the reason we're going to do the things we're going to do. When Charlie goes down to brace these walls, the engineer will will be helping him to understand what he needs to do in order to for him to be satisfied with it. And then I would assume that when he's finished, that Richard will write another letter stating that it's secured the way I want it.
Since this is a non-for-profit and you guys are not in it to try to make any money,
No.
what type of contractor are you trying to reach out and do on this particular piece of property?
What do you mean, what kind of contract?
How much? Contingent upon?
I'm not gonna publicly say how much or anything. That's not something that's any concern to anyone except me and the owner. But there is a substantial amount of money out there, and the owners agreed to it. Is it,
You know, I feel that it needs to be under a contract as to which way that I would be willing to vote. I mean,
well, now, the owner's
I
doing
wanna
this
save the
themselves.
I want to save the record shop, but I don't want to continue kicking the can down the road.
Well, you know, logically, in order to allow the contractors time to get their work done, us to get these people out, I don't know how long it'll take you to get those people out of there. You know, they, every time I talk to them, you know, well, it'll take us 30 days to get out anyway, and we'll already be out. So if that's the situation, then we're still right where we are right now. You know, the people that's doing this are the owners. We're not doing this. The owner's got a contract with the contractor. The owner's renting the building to these people through an agency. And, you know, the owner's the one doing this stuff at this point in time. When it gets time and we get some other things put in place, then we will move on to the other end with the nonprofit and the other stuff.
Ms. Love?
Thank you. Well, first of all, I wanted to say thank you all for doing all that you've been doing, because I know nobody has asked you to do that, and that you're doing it out of your own feeling of wanting to save it. So it's good of you all to do that. And what I would like to know is, the owner says that the fence is going up and the wall's going to be stabilized and braced. Do you have any idea how quickly, is that the 30 days that you mentioned, or is that are you just asking for 30 more days?
We're asking for 30 days in order to give us this window that we need. The contractor only got this roll, and we've got a 3-day holiday. You know, they don't work. You know, he got this on, you know, when he got to the office this morning. So he's trying to jump through hoops and find some things. I talked with 2 different fence people that can furnish the fence and stuff. They don't have any. There's so much construction and things going on, they're out. And so he's had to dig around all day long until he found some fencing that, you know, will work for this.
Did they find some?
Oh, yeah, he's found some. It's just, they're taking it off of another job, the way I understand it. And when they get it back in their yard, they will bring it up here. Then he's got to schedule his people in to get down there and put it up, because the fence, this is rental fence, and get the thing put up. You know, there's a lot of things going on, you know. Actually, when I look at your ordinance, which I managed to get a copy of, we've really met what I believe is the intent of that ordinance. You know, that says that the building is to be vacated. The building is vacated. Now, the building next to it is not vacated, but that isn't part of the condemnation. You know, Randy's, nobody's been in. You know, I don't think the rats even go in there anymore. They're smart. You know, but you know, we're trying to reconstruct the building and make it safe so that it can stand down there. Before we get in there and do anything else, there will be some more work done to those walls. We want them fixed up permanently, not temporarily. We're going to temporarily do it now, which will make them, like the gentleman addressed, that situation, you know, the odds of that situation happening is going to be slim to none, because we're going to brace those walls like they're supposed to be braced. We know what we're doing, and we're not going to go down there and risk our people either. So, you know, that's the reason for bracing the walls now, and then working on them later once we can move ahead with some things.
Mr. Fennell?
Let me try to reword my question to you. Are you trying to buy this with 1 or 2 main people that's going to donate, or are you trying to do this through multiple donations, a lot of different people? I'm just trying to figure out how you're going to secure this property.
I can say this, I don't know why that is a concern of the council. Right now, the owner owns the property, and we're just speaking for them. But I can tell you what we're doing. We're looking at both of those situations as well as another one. We have had at least 2 benefactors that have surfaced that are looking into this property. They have the means to buy the whole kit and caboodle and to pay for the construction work that needs to be done. And then they will donate that in part to the new foundation once we get it put in place. And these benefactors could come in here right now and you would probably recognize both of them. But we're not pushing that. We're just put that out there. They came to us and said, this is what we can do. Whether they will or not, I have no idea. We just gave them the information they asked us for, and they're taking it to their people and looking at it. That's how this process works. We can get a nonprofit put in place a lot sooner than we thought we could. We were told at first that it would take us over a year. We're finding out now that we can have a 501c3 in much less time than that. We just need to stop coming up here every 7 days and jumping through the hoops we have to do to get y'all answers, which we don't mind doing, but it's really not accomplishing anything other than we're just kicking the can down the road.
Thank you, sir. What's the will of this body, guys, ladies and gentlemen?
Let me ask you.
Mr. Mayberry?
Yeah, Shannon, Ms. Rogers, John, let me ask you this, on that 2 or 3 things. At the high wall on that east side, which is on this side of the building, if between now and the time, if we allow the time for that wall to get secured, if it were to fall this way, east, is that lot big enough that that block would be contained on that lot, or is there an adjoining property owner between that building and that bridge up down here?
Okay, I can't answer the property line thing because nobody knows. I can tell you this, that we went down there and measured the building, the engineer and myself, and if it fell completely over from the ground out this way, it will not hit the other building. There's still sufficient room in there that there shouldn't be a problem with it hitting the other building. That's something that we were very careful to look at. The odds, I mean, that's, as far as I know, that's never been known to happen except in tilt-up concrete, and that's when it gave away. This is a block wall. It probably won't fall like that because it just doesn't work that way. It's all connected together.
Okay.
It could fall in pieces and parts, and right now, the only indication we get is it's falling inward, not outward at all.
Okay.
Once we stabilize the walls, it's not, nobody can sit here and tell you, something couldn't happen, but lightning could hit it and, blow the blocks up in the air. We don't know that. We can't do that. Nobody can. But as far as we're concerned, from an engineering standpoint, the building will be secured at that point.
Mr. Mayberry, anything else?
You said that you there was still some loose block up on top.
There was. It's fallen now.
Okay, and a wind came along and blew it.
No, actually what happened had to do with expansion and contraction of building materials that happened
So
at the
we've
top of
had
the wall.
block since our discussion over the past few weeks. There has been cinder block fall from a top down,
They were already leaning like this.
but they have fallen
They had to fall.
30 or 40 feet.
We're glad they fell.
Yeah,
That
that's-
just proves my point.
that's
The
a
blocks are not
liability.
going to flip and fall out. That
Okay.
Gravity don't work that way.
And then a what if? This building is saved, Randy's Record Shop. Mr. Boone and all others come in, and that would be a great thing for our town.
Exactly.
Great thing for our town. Does the Woods family or anybody have any intention in bringing in dot record memorabilia or stuff to go in, or items to go in that building so it would become a tourist attraction versus what has been in it
Okay.
for quite some time?
Okay, we have out here Randy Wood's niece. And I had his cousin came over to my car lot and talked to me, but they're right here in the chamber here.
Hang on a second, sir.
Yes,
Y'all want to
and-
spin the rules, let her speak.
If you want her to talk, she's here.
She made a special trip.
Come on up, ma'am, please. State your name and address for the record.
Good evening. I'm Marianne Rippey, Marianne Ogles Rippey, and I'm Randy's niece. My address is 1755 Highway 31 East, Gallatin, 37066. I live in Maple Shade. And yes, I'm in touch with the children in Los Angeles, and they are very supportive of all of this and will do all they can to provide whatever we need for the building. I've been in contact with the Commissioner of Tourism, Triplett. He's very much interested in including Randy's Records on a new fall initiative of music pathways in Tennessee. He thinks Randy's is a essential element to put on this tour. The National Preservation Commission, we've been in contact with them equally. They saved Studio A, Studio B, Muscle Shoals Studios, and they are tremendously interested in saving this asset for the state. But the children are absolutely, I'm in touch with Larry and Linda and John, and they will do all we can to bring the building back into prime condition. And I'm working with trying to get some of these other artists to come in with Pat and have some kind of a big event that will be fundraising to sustain. I mean, once we get it saved and reconstructed, there will be a continuation involved, and there's so many people that I've talked to that are interested in helping accomplish this. We just need a little bit of time. I've been suffering from a concussion since June 6th, so I've kind of laid back and let these gentlemen do the speaking for me, but I was well enough to be here tonight, and I do appreciate, and my family appreciates your efforts. Randy started the community college system in the state. He gave fortunes to MTSU. He gave fortunes to start Vol State. Took Hal Raymer out to California to let him understudy the California community college system and brought it to Tennessee. Bob Clement's been working with me. I mean, we are really doing all we can. I've got oars in water on all fronts, and we do hope you'll give us a little bit more time. As I said, I've had a concussion, and I'm not able to do much other than just on the telephone. These guys have done a valiant effort in doing what they can to do from the engineer side. But I assure you there are wheels turning on the other side. Fred Foster from Monument Records called me this afternoon. So the music industry, Bobby Braddock wrote me this morning. I mean, the music industry is behind this. Randy was premier in this business. He's one of the founders of this business, and he put Gallatin on the map.
Thank you, ma'am. We appreciate it. Anyone have any other comments? Mr. Fennell?
You know, when Johnny first come to the council, made mention of it, I commend him for doing that, and Mr. Rogers also. And I've also reached out and said I'd be willing to donate money. One thing I was trying to question Mr. Rogers about, if it's moving forward as far as purchasing this, and I'm scared that time's going to get away, or it's not going to be enough money, or if the funding mechanism is not lined up. You know, I think yesterday I went out, Jimmy, you see me on my floating around talking to people on the lake, and it seemed like every boat that I floated up to, somebody had something to say about Randy's Record Shop yesterday, and I told Craig that. I mean, I don't want to run ahead of anybody or anything like that, but I think this is something that we need to try to preserve in the city of Gallatin. I'm worried about the wall falling. I want to get it shored up and stuff. So with that being said, and I don't want to step on any toes or anything, I think we need to buy it. I'd be willing to make a motion that we purchase Randy's Record Shop, City of Gallatin, and go into negotiations through Susie McCauley. What about that?
Can I say something?
Yeah, hang on just a second. Mr. Alexander.
You know,
I'm just trying to reach out and try to figure out a price.
Yeah, we need a second, but we don't know what the motion is
That's
and how
one
much it
reason.
is. What's the motion?
I'll make a motion that we offer $450,000. We give them 48 hours to respond, that we can close within 7 working days, and let Ms. McCauley handle the negotiations. Anybody want to adjust the price, jump in.
Excuse me, can I say
Well, no,
something before you
whoa,
do?
sir, hang on. Is there a second to that motion? Motion?
Linda. I'm trying, guys.
Any discussion? Any-
That's why I'm trying to
Hang
get
on.
with you.
Hang on, gentlemen. Any discussion on the motion? Mr. Camp?
I've got a couple of
Hang on,
questions.
hang on, guys. Mr. Camp, just hang on, guys. Mr.
I've got
Camp.
one legal question. First, the engineer keeps taking it from imminent dangerous building to a dangerous building. I'm got something rolling around in my mind that Mr. Stewart said that our code does not differentiate between the two.
Am I right or wrong?
It does differentiate.
It differentiates between an imminent danger and a dangerous building.
Okay. I thought you said that one like that, didn't, so.
Let me finish. Let me jump in on my motion
Mr.
just for a
Fennell.
second. You know, and also adding to my motion, you know, I have no plans for what to do with the building other than save it. But we could certainly, if we could purchase this right here and sit back and let the public decide what direction we need to go in on this building right here. Save it, preserve it, sit back, take a little while, figure out what we want to do, and then figure out some kind of plan and go with it.
Mr. Alexander.
I just hate to be the villain, but we're really playing with a loaded gun. Now, we've had all this information brought to us about this building being dangerous. We had the gentleman in the back talk about something happened in another city. We're liable, y'all. Yes, I would love to save that building, but I would much rather go and build a building in that same spot if necessary than to deal with this one. Because I just think, you know, I still feel the same way I did before. I think this is a very dangerous building. I don't want to jeopardize anybody's life and I love to preserve history, but at this stage, I just think we're fighting a losing battle. I just can't support that.
Mr. Hayes.
Can I make another motion, or do we need to vote on this one first?
No, you'd have to make an amendment. You gonna make an amendment to that,
No.
you can, Mr. Hayes.
No, let's go ahead and vote on this one then.
Is there any other discussion on this motion? Ms. Susan?
Yes, I would like to say, I don't think we can get a closing done in 7 days.
14.
Well, we have to get a title opinion. I don't know how quickly all that can happen.
Praise the title
But
opinion.
Yeah. I don't have,
I've closed properties in 2 or 3 days.
Without a title opinion?
but it was your money, personal. I don't have any problem if the building is made secured, and I mean timely, like real timely, given an extension, okay? Now, I don't even know what the seller would be willing to sell the property for, and I'm not going to just pull the taxpayer's dollar out of the air when there hadn't even been, well, as far as I'm concerned, there may have been some backdoor, other discussion about the value of it at this point. Because then it becomes where very few people would probably give money, because they'll say the city's got plenty of money and they can restore it, and then all of a sudden we're in a situation like we're working with now, presently on a house. Having said that, if y'all can get it secured, okay, and I mean get that wall fastened, get that fence up where it becomes like a wall where people cannot get in there, and you get that done in the next few days, then I'm willing to consider tonight, subject to what Chuck has to say here, given ample time for this nonprofit that's being organized and the general public coming together to fund this thing, and then the city assisting when and where it can in a legal, reasonable basis. So,
We got a motion and a second on the floor, so let's discuss that motion. Is there any other discussion on that motion?
Well, Craig said, but I want to say a little bit of,
Go ahead, Mr. Fennell.
if I think this motion that I made is probably gonna die. But, I tried, but anyways, you guys, are you gonna be able to get the money? Is the lady gonna pay for the fence when it's put up and secure the building and keep it from falling and everything? That's a definite. You don't have to go and try to get 500 here, 1,000 there. That's what I'm scared of.
She's already committed to that.
Hang on, don't talk outside the microphone, sir, please.
That's all I have.
All right. Any other discussion on this motion?
when the family has made pretty much that commitment.
I
to-
do think it's a good idea to buy the property.
Any other discussion on this particular motion that's on the floor? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed?
No.
The motion has failed.
Sean, I've been there
Mr. Hayes.
Yes,
for 4 years.
and I'm kind of like,
And Ms. Kicker, by the way, it was 5-1.
It's a good feeling to be the.
1
only
for
one
it,
sometime.
5
I've done it
against.
many times up here.
I don't vote on this, okay?
Then you know you're right.
No, ma'am, I'm chairman of the,
Uh,
go ahead, Mr. Hayes.
No, I was gonna say, you know, I'm all for giving them a little bit more of an extension too. I think we're kinda making a little bit of progress, but I'd like to see us extended another 30 days.
Is that a motion?
Yes.
Motion been made, is there a second?
I'll second it.
Motion been made by Mr. Hayes, seconded
Here's my thinking.
by Ms. Love. Mr. Fennell.
If Mr. Stewart sees that the fence going up and sees that it's securing itself and it don't pose a danger to the public, I don't have a problem coming back and extending it again.
Mr. Hayes, is part of your motion what our city attorneys advised us to do, and that is, we have to get these tenants out of the building?
Yes, I was gonna.
Is that in
just
part of your
mention
motion?
that. Yes.
Okay, is that part of your second? Motion's been made and properly seconded, that we give them 30 days, and that Mr. Stewart works on getting these tenants out of the building along with their city attorney. Any discussion on that motion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Any opposed?
No.
It passed 5-1. Thank you all.
Mr. Overton,
Mr. Stewart,
yes, if we're going to allow this building to get secured, ever how they're gonna do it, we'd like to see a copy of a contract, valuation contract from a licensed bonded contractor, and him pull his permit as soon as possible, so the liability of those walls comes off the city and goes on to that contractor.
If we need to even put that in part of the motion, that's great. I mean, to do that, so, because it does need to be done that way.
Ms. McCullough says we need that in the form of a motion
Okay. Can I tack that onto my motion?
No, we've already
Okay.
passed that one, so we
Well,
have to make another.
you could move to reconsider.
Okay, I'll move to reconsider.
So,
Hang on. Is there a second to reconsider?
second.
All in favor to reconsider, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Passed 6-0.
Okay.
Mr. Hayes?
Yes, I'll make that part of my original motion.
And state your motion again.
Yeah, good luck on that.
For the record, Mr. Hayes, you have to do it.
No.
We give them,
Whatever, tell them whatever Chuck said.
We're gonna give them 30 days, 30 more days extension. We're also going to where I think Chuck and Susan, our attorney, are gonna work out. They have to get the people out of the other buildings, the tenants, and then what was the other, what Chuck said?
the contractor's got to
Yeah.
pull the permits.
Pull the
He's
permits
gotta
in a
pull, he's gotta
timely
pull a
manner.
building permit.
Right.
If he's
In a
starting
timely
to
manner.
secure walls, he's gotta pull a building permit on that building.
That's right.
I'll second his motion, but I got a question.
Okay, the motion has been made by Mr. Hayes, second by Mr. Fennell. Any discussion, Mr. Alexander?
No, I just have a question, while all this is going on, who's liable?
Well, there are multiple people that can be liable. Ultimately, the building owner has the most liability right now. The city may or may not, depending on what a court would find, have liability in this situation. But as long as we're acting with prudence and doing it quickly, our liability can lessen, and we may be immune. Just depends on what a court, under the Tennessee Governmental Tort Liability Act, depending on what a court finds. In the Memphis case, the court found that the city was not immune, but it was over a long period of time. They didn't follow the plan that they had put in place.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Camp?
Did Mr. Hayes put a time limit? on
30
pulling the
days.
permit? Huh?
30 days.
For the permit.
For the
Oh, for
permit
the
on,
permit.
on
No, we just said timely manner.
on the man pulling the permit.
Yeah, we said timely manner. So, I mean, we've given it 30
Well,
days.
time of the manner.
I know, but
is
we've given
something-
them 30 days extension, so they've got 30 days to do.
I-
You can amend it.
No, I'd like to amend that to 72 hours.
Well, I mean, why would you, I mean, I'm not.
Well, the contractor's local, you're talking about if you're giving them 30 days, then we're still liable that way, right?
No, that's what you just said.
Well,
Once the
potentially.
permit's
It's all
approved, it's what-
potentially.
The permits is what, once the permit's approved, though, that takes us out of the liability, mostly,
Not,
completely, but mostly.
does not take us completely out of liability,
Yeah,
no.
yeah.
Any other questions on the motion? Anybody else?
And I got one more. Just right quick, Steve was referring to what Chuck said, that if we go ahead and get them to pull that permit, then I was thinking that it would get us out of some of the liability or all
Liability,
of it, so that was the
but not
question.
all.
It can remove some of it, but there's still, you know, potentially there's liability on the city's part because we have an eminently dangerous building. And until it's secured and posted, no occupants and the tenants are out, that is my major concern. There have been buildings that have fallen on people that have driven up to buildings. That's what happened in the Memphis case. They drove up, were sitting outside, building fell on them, killed them.
Turn your mic on, please.
Do we need to define timely manner then?
Absolutely.
You can make, if somebody wants to make an amendment to it, you can amend this motion.
How fast do you think that they would be able to get this done? I mean, do you think a week or 2 weeks? Yes, I was asking Mr.
Okay,
Rogers.
it
Mr.
seems
Rogers.
like things have advanced in a direction here. I'm okay with it. Sounds like what you're going. But now you're talking about time limits. I will inform the contractor that he needs to pull a permit in the morning. That's not a big deal. When he can get around to doing it, I mean, it's his business. I can't make him do it. No one can. But he will board and pull a permit before he does anything down there.
Is the contractor, is it Charlie Curtis?
Yes.
He can do it in a week. He can have it done in a week.
Well, he can get the contract in place. I mean, he can get the permit in place for
It's
a
just
week,
who's
but he
gonna pay
can't get
for
the
it.
work done. I've
We're
already
not talking
talked to him.
about work done. We're talking about get the contract.
Oh,
pulled.
I can see that he gets the contract done right away.
Contract
Just
and
tell him that it
permit
needs to be
pulled.
done as fast as
Yeah.
possible. And of course, he'll move in the next day or two, I would assume.
Yeah.
Who put the fence around down there?
So
Just down
the
there?
permit is okay. We can put that in
It's just a
place
temporary.
fairly quickly.
Did the family
It's
do
the
that?
work we can't do right away because you just can't get the materials and you just can't schedule the manpower. It's just not there no more.
Any other discussions?
Is that the city's barrier down there now that's
Yes.
around that property?
Yes.
So we're already, it's our equipment, I mean, our assets are down there now.
If,
that's keeping them back.
Yes, Mr. Wilkerson placed the barriers down there
Yes,
for us.
sir.
if y'all would feel better, I mean, I could amend it. I'd say give them 10 days to get the contract and the permit pulled. That's reasonable.
Are you
Very
amending it?
reasonable. Yeah,
Are we concerned about getting the work done or just about pulling permits?
pulling permit.
Because
Well,
that's.
hey,
to be-
hang on, no discussion. We got a motion on the floor to amend. Is there a second to that motion? Now, Ms. Love, if you'd like to ask a question, please do.
Well, he just answered it, but I was asking, are we concerned about the permits? Is that gonna, drop our liability, or are we concerned about the actual work being done, which Mr. Hayes just said was only the permits, which I think could be done really fast?
Ultimately, we're concerned about the work being done. That's what's going to secure the building.
Any other questions on the amendment?
Yeah, my whole point is this, is the execution of Miss Sherry Mullins's email. That's the crux of it, is the stabilization. Our little ropes and barrels doesn't do much down there. And that's got to be done within days, or real quick, especially if we're sharing liability with the property owner, and we have full knowledge along with a third-party engineering company that's told us the same thing. I mean, I think I could beat you in court on that one, and I'm not a lawyer. That to me is the critical point. It also would be critical, you keep Chuck, you don't have to come back up here, but Chuck posted. I mean, every day, or 7 days, send him an email of progress. Of course, what he wants to see is physical progress, not a sheet of paper. He wants to see physical movement down there. And I think this council wants to see that physical movement of improvement of stabilization ASAP.
Are we ready to vote on the amendment?
Can I say something?
All in favor for the amendment, giving them 10 days to pull the permit, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Passed 5-1. Now we're back on the original motion as amended. Any other discussion on original motion? Seeing none, all in favor of the original motion as amended, say aye. Any opposed?
No. That's the 30 days.
Passed 5-1. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Let's move on to item number 4, second reading. Councilman Alexander.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. This is ordinance number 0180-40. Orders appropriating the court recovery from the state of Tennessee in the amount of $400 from the unassigned fund balance of the general fund for damage to Clearview Park, and I so move.
Motion has been made and properly second. All in favor say aye. Any opposed? It passed 5-0. Passed unanimously. Item number 5, Councilwoman Love.
Thank you, Jimmy. This is an ordinance of the City of Gallatin, rezoning 2 lots totaling 6 acres from the MRO Multiple Residential and Office District to the IR Industrial Restrictive District located on the southeast side of Airport Road, south of Hartsville Pike, authorizing the revision to be indicated on the official zoning atlas, repealing conflicting ordinances, providing for severability, and providing for an effective date. I so move.
Motion been made and properly second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Passes 4-0. Item number 6, Councilman Mayberry.
Yes, sir, this is amended ordinance number 01808-43. We are amending the ordinance appropriating funds for the 2017-2018 carryover capital projects. The ordinance that we're amending had an amount of $3,425,927. We are upping that to $3,482,679. Motion to approve.
Motion has been paid and properly second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Anybody against? Pass unanimously. Item number 7, Councilman Camp.
Thank you. This is an amended resolution to authorize the political subdivision participation in the Tennessee Consolidated Retirement System in accordance with Tennessee Code annotated Title 8, Chapters 34 through 37. So moved.
Second.
Motion has been made and properly second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Pass unanimously. We're on other business. Anyone here on the council have other business? I have one item, if you will. I have a road closure that was delivered to me today. They asked me to present. This event is on September the 21st, on Friday, September 21st, in front of the Palace Theater. They're asking to have a road closed because they're going to be broadcasting and filming. The Travel Channel is going to be there broadcasting and filming in front of the Palace Theater starting at 1 p.m. and going to midnight on Friday, September the 21st. It looks like we have all the signatures that's required. Greater Gallatin delivered this to me today. What's the will of the body to close the road?
Motion.
And it will be closed from Franklin Street to Prince Street on water. Will be closed from Franklin to Prince.
So we don't have to do a motion just yet.
Well, you got to approve it.
Motion to approve.
I wish it was not on Friday. I wish it wasn't on Friday afternoon, but that's good for the city, I would think, to have the Travel Channel here.
Motion been made. Is there a second? Motion been made and properly second. Any discussion on it? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Pass unanimously. Any other business from anybody on the council? Seeing none, now's public recognition from anybody in the audience. Anything not on the agenda that you'd like to speak about, now's your time. Mr. DeBoer. Yeah. State your name and address for the record, please.
I'm Joe DeBoer, and I live at 1007 Hart Street here in Gallatin, Tennessee. And tonight I rise up to inform the council of a big doings coming up later on this month. We're going to have the dynamic September 15th doubleheader. And the first thing we're going to be doing we're gonna have us what they call the Grand Fondo for all the bike riders in the community and around the country. If they wanna come and ride around our neck of the woods, we're gonna have that set up starting first in the morning. And we're gonna follow that up in our community with this. This is what Jimmy likes. He likes to see that all kinds of flame and smoke and all that stuff, is the annual tractor pull sponsored by the Sertoma Club. So we have two wonderful events that are going to happen in our community. We want you to come out and support them. We thank you.
Thank you, Mr. DeBoer. We appreciate it. Great events.
You need to slow down just a little bit, Jimmy. I believe you're about ready to blow a gasket.
Great events, Mr. DeBoer. Thank you very much. Anyone else?
Yeah, I got
Miss
one
Love.
question, Jim.
Miss Love, hang on a second.
Thanks, Jimmy. I just wanted to mention that Morningside of Gallatin is hosting two really good events for the community. The first one is on September 11th, and that is their annual Heroes Ice Cream Social for veterans, first responders, police, fire, EMS, anybody who can come out and enjoy some ice cream on September 11th from 1 till 3 o'clock. And also, there is a fundraiser being held at Morningside of Gallatin to help save the historic bell that used to be over on top of the old fire department on Franklin Street, and then on the city hall that preceded this building. And that bell has been there since, I believe, 1885 and is being restored. So there is a fundraiser that includes a cookout, a raffle for a smart TV, lots of good food out at Morningside, and that is on Sunday afternoon on September 16th. And that is from 12 till 3, open to anybody who would like to come for a donation that's suggested of $10. You can give as much as you want. I hope everybody will come that day.
Thank you, Ms. Love. Mr. Fennell.
That's one thing Linda brought up is about the bail. How much does it cost to restore a bail?
Chief Williams could answer that question, I think.
Good evening. The preliminary prices we received and the quote we got was $3,000.
Wow.
And we had to ship it up to Cincinnati to a company that was capable of doing the work for us. It's an extensive process because they didn't want to damage the bell, so it takes approximately 45 days to go through the complete process of restoring it.
Is it cracked?
Nope, no cracks in it. We want to keep it that way. We just wanted to get it shined and get it treated, get it sealed, so we can put it back outside with a new covering over it to protect it from the elements. So,
thank you for enlightening me.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you very much, Chief.
Did the 3,000 include shipping?
That's negative. We delivered it to avoid the shipping charges before. Our personnel loaded it up on a fire department vehicle and we delivered it to Cincinnati. It's about a 4-hour drive, give or take, and when it's ready, we're going to go and pick it up so we don't have to pay the shipping charges, which would have been more than the actual cost of refurbishing because it's like a 1,000-pound bale. So.
Thank you, Chief. Mm-hmm. Anybody else in the public wish to speak? If not, do I hear a motion? Motion to adjourn. All in favor say aye. We're adjourned.
Me too. He threw us off for it.